Good morning, everybody. Melissa here. Thanks for joining me. I was trying to do a video by the window and the sun was way too bright. I absolutely love Colorado winter this year. It is gorgeous. I mean, I think the lowest it's been was maybe last night, 14, I'm not sure, but it was not even, this winter hasn't even been that cold. I love the snow. I can't take a lot of cold. So anyways, I want to talk right now about some things going on in the world with abortion. So if you look at my post, you will see not only the new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, is for abortion, but so was the other one, Justin, right? The one that just got replaced. So when we look at Canada, and we're like, oh, okay, they are really going to make some changes. They are building. They are trying to compete with the United States, as most countries do. We see that they are very much for abortion, very much. And until a country gets this right with abortion, we are not going to be a healthy country. So I was watching live action. You can look at my post. I left some comments there. This couple was told to abort their baby. The doctor told them to abort the baby. Live action does a great job. They're like, you can say no to your doctor. You can say no. And you absolutely should, ladies. Be your own doctor. Not only did I have to be my own doctor, and I had 3 home births, okay? So I had to learn about childbirth extensively. I even thought of maybe being a doula at one point, because it was so interesting to me. Not only do you have to learn about your own body, but you have to learn about the baby, you have to learn about birth, you have to learn a lot. So ladies, I really feel women should be home for the most part. Does it mean it's wrong to go out and work? Because I'm somebody who was brought up in a different era. Most of the women, when I was growing up, started to work. Most of the moms, they had a part-time job, and they knew their home was the main place to be for the most part. There was a lot of women's lib going on. I was born in the 70s. A lot of women were still home. A lot of women were starting to work a lot more. So you got to mix and match, right? But now we see women out there all the time working, all the time. I do not feel, for the most part, when women are having children, they need to be out there all the time working. As a matter of fact, as you know, I have tons of work experience everywhere. Most places are not worth my time. Most places are not good enough. And I don't mean to sound snobby when I say that, but they're not. They're not good enough. And what I mean by that is we need to push back against the workforce. We really do. They don't take into mind your individuality. I mean, like, yes, I have to serve food many times in the restaurant, but, you have to compromise quite a bit. You have to compromise, like your nails can only be so long. They can't be past the fingertip. You can't have the earrings you like in. You have to have your hair usually pulled up in a tight bun, usually. And I understand that with food. I understand that. But yet, I mean, what does that do to your hair over the long run, right? When it's pulled back so tight. You can't really express yourself completely all the time. You can't. Especially when you have a company that's very successful and they have a lot of rules. You are like way down here and you really cannot express your individuality, okay? So women who stay home, okay, and I've been on both sides of the coin here, guys. I've worked, plus I've stayed home. Most of the time when my kids were younger, I stayed home. So you get your freedom. Staying home, you get your freedom. You get to enjoy, not only your kids and your husband, but you get to do what you want with your time. And yesterday I was like, what is going to be more beneficial to me? Is it actually to speak my mind now and take my day and get more done than if I work, or to work and take a paycheck that's probably going to be about like nothing? The time taxes are taken out, right? Now, I'm not totally against working. I think if your kids are pretty much older and they pretty much can care for themselves. And I'm talking about after you've had a big family. I'm talking about not, okay, I've had 2 kids and now they're in 6th grade and I'm on my own to do what I want. I'm talking about women spending most of their time and most of their life having kids. So from my oldest to my youngest is 12 and a half years apart. Invest in yourself when you're home. You have plenty of time to do that. You have plenty of time to learn new skills. I find women staying home in working part-time, I've had jobs on the side, is very beneficial. I feel like you can almost get the best of both worlds. But when your children are all grown as mine are, yes, I will be moving into a career next week. Because it's just me, I'm taking care of myself now. Okay, just me. So yes, we see men now, okay? We see men, and this is what I'm going to say, and a lot of people are not going to like it, but like Mark Carney and other men in leadership saying women have a right to have an abortion. And do you know why, ladies? That's because when the home is not strong, the government can control you more. So the men acting like, oh, we give women freedom, they actually want to use you in the workforce. They want to use you so that their country can prosper better. That's what they're doing. And this is why abortion is so easy, guys, because the more they can control women to work in the workforce and not have kids, because when you have kids, you usually need extra care, the more their country can succeed. And I'm afraid we are going to see abortion mandated instead of giving time to mothers to have families. And that's the scary part here. And you will have to fight, mothers, for yourself all the way up. Just like Live Action said, this woman was told to have an abortion, and they actually went against the doctor and had their baby. That is to be commended, okay? And I left a message, on this channel saying, basically not just saying no to the doctor when you are having a baby, but say no to doctors all the way up, ladies, all the way up. That's what I did. They wanted to immunize. I said, well, let me see the information. Let me study myself. Let me look at everything. And this immunization's okay, but I'm not okay with this one. And no, you're not giving my baby 100 shots when they're born. They don't need it. And I got flagged often. Every time I went to the doctors and I denied immunizations, I got flagged as if something was wrong with me for thinking differently, right? Up until I had a doctor from Poland, and I cannot tell you how much I loved this doctor. He was like, no, you shouldn't do immunizations. And I'm like, what? He's like, no, you shouldn't. I totally support you. He goes, I had every single disease except one he did not have, and it gave him natural immunization. And so I had to fight for that. I had to fight in the educational system. I had to homeschool. I had to say no. I sent my oldest to school once, and then he wanted to try it again, and he hated it. I had to fight the system in order to give my kids what I wanted. And I had to fight not only the system, but family too. And I homeschooled all my kids. And I am so glad I did, because now when I substitute in the education area as a substitute teacher, I see what really happens in schools. I see the lack of care. I see the lack of structure. I see the lack of learning. I see it. So 100% no regret homeschooling. And then you have to say no to other people who want to force their opinion on you. Now let me talk about opinions. There is a difference, guys, between the truth, which Christ has talked about, and opinions. Opinions is just what man thinks. What God says is the truth. So as a Christian, I had to study quite a bit in order to have good theology as a mom, to be able to understand not only child development and study it in my homeschooling, but also to know biblically, what is my role, not only as a wife, but as a mother. So women are equal before men. You don't have to serve your husband hand and foot all day long. He also needs to serve you. Marriage is a mutual partnership, guys. So that's what I want to share today. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think. Okay, thanks, guys.